Hello, Chelsea fans and YouTube fans. Welcome back to my fourth time trying to record this video. Welcome back to the AGCFC podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the AC Milan and the Johor Dural team. I'm not trying to say that in such a bad fashion to be disrespectful. I just genuinely have no idea how to say that team's name. But we're also going to talk about Pep Chavaria as we got the here we go for that. But first, I want to speak a little bit about Enzo Fernandez and some other transfer things that have been going on. So, Enzo Fernandez, we've seen Rodri now. All of a sudden, he was using Madrid for all this, all that, and now all of a sudden he wants to go to Barcelona. And I think that's pretty much a here we go. At least it's mostly confirmed. So now Enzo Maresca is going to be looking after Enzo Fernandez heavily, at least in my opinion. I've seen some reports saying that he probably will pay the 120 million, which is crazy how Man City will pay 270 million for two midfield players. But we can't really say much because we also signed Caicedo and Enzo pretty much in two back-to-back 6-month span of windows. Anyway, yeah, I think Enzo Fernandez now will probably leave after I was very much thinking he was going to stay now. But I think Maresca will go on all in for him. We have also seen that Enzo Maresca maybe wants Pedro Neto, but that's going to cost him like 75, 80 million, along with Malo Gusto has gotten interest from Man City, not Real Madrid, for around, we would ask for 75 million for him too. So I don't think Gusto is going to leave, which would be interesting because it's almost would be best if he did leave for even like 50 million because we're going to have Reece James, Gusto, Palestra, even Josh Chempon can play right back. So I used to be scared because Reece James would always get injured and Malo Gusto would get injured and we wouldn't have a true right back. But now I feel like we have so many that we've got to get rid of one of them. So I wouldn't mind if Malo Gusto went. Pedro Neto, I think he's decent experience, but I also wouldn't mind if he left. I'd rather Quenda and Estevao just get the minutes that Pedro Neto would get. So we'll have to see what happens. It looks like Badiashile is now going to go to Napoli as well. That's not confirmed, but talks have definitely, it seems like, have picked up recently. So we'll have to see what happens with all those. We'll keep you updated, of course. But the main transfer news I want to talk about is Pep Chavaria. We have the here we go from Fabrizio, from David Onstein, from all the reporters. You know, he's got the here we go. He will be coming into Chelsea FC this season. Initial thoughts and opinions. I can't sit here and say this is a signing that super excites me or anything like that, but it does excite me because at the end of the day, I do believe in Xabi Alonso. I believe whatever Xavi wants is the right call. I think he knows what he's doing. I think everybody knows that he knows what he's doing. Pep Chavaria, I think him and Hato will work well together. Maybe Pep Chavaria, though, at the end of the day, we're just signing him to be a backup because we're only signing him for 19 million. And Hato will play there because Hato captained Ajax at 19 years old. So I think Ajax at the end of the day, or I think Hato at the end of the day knows what he's doing. I don't think he needs some like proper adultery to like be in there, you know, to help him grow and learn as a player. But also, we've got Robert Sanchez, who, and goalkeeper, obviously, I think is like 26, 27, maybe 28 now in the goalkeeper position. In the back line, now we have a 28-year-old Pep Chavaria. We have a 36-year-old Jordan Henderson in midfield and Danny Welbeck up top, 35 years old. What I'm trying to say is I think we've got the experience now that Xabi Alonso wanted in every single position now. So I think I think that works well. I think it is good experience for the back line. You know, I'm looking at this app called One versus One, where he also, I mean, his wages, I don't know if this is pounds, sterlings, whatever, but it's 6,700. So even in US dollars, that can't be more than $10,000. Yes, he'll get a huge pay rise at Chelsea because we will pay him, but at the most, he's probably getting like, you would hope 75, but probably like 50 at Chelsea. So in terms of the salary, I think it's a good signing. You know, it's a player we're not going to have to pay too much. But also on this website that I'm looking at, we've got some personal rankings for Pep, which I think are interesting and cool to look at. So Pep Chavaria is ranked 33 among left wing backs in La Liga. Not a stat that flatters me very much, if I'm being honest, but I think left wing back is what he's determined as on this app and what he's determined as a lot of people. But for the team he played for in La Liga, he was, if I'm being honest, he was mostly playing in just a normal left back spot because they played a four at the back. So, I don't know how well these stats actually are and how well these stats actually determine of a player who he is. But Pep Shavari is ranked 1,388th in Europe's top five leagues. And I wonder who they have number one for that, actually. That'd be interesting to see. That stat doesn't really matter. It's of all players. Who cares? But he's ranked 238th of left back defenders in Europe's top five leagues. Not a great stat there. 25th for assists, 7th for successful passes in the opposition's box, 8th for tackles in the Liga is not too bad, 12th for interceptions. It's all right. So, look, he's got some okay stats in there. Nothing too crazy. But, again, I believe in Xabi Alonso. I think Xabi Alonso knows what he's doing, knows the kind of profile he's getting. I think Pep's strong, which is a player we've wanted. I wonder if I can see his height on here. Let me scroll up real quick. He is 174 centimeters, so whatever the hell that means, I have no idea. I don't think he's super tall, though. He's not like an over 6 foot player like Palestra is in like some of the recent signings. Like Danny Welbeck's pretty tall, I think. So, but he's strong, I think, and I think he's mentally strong as well. Again, he's 28, so I think it'll work well. Enough of that. Let's get into the preseason preview versus AC Milan and Johor. I don't even know what country they play in. Doesn't really matter because we should be beating them anyway. But how am I feeling heading into these games? Look, 2-1 loss to Tottenham. Wasn't great. We lost to a wonder goal from Juventus. Not great either. But, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. 6-4 against Western Sydney, where we really struggled. I feel like we didn't look too great. So I feel like in this whole preseason, we haven't looked too great at all. Looked kind of boring, but at the end of the day, a lot of players are playing, and we know that that's the main goal of preseason. Maresca lost 4-1 to Celtic in preseason, and we ended up winning the Club World Cup and the Conference League that season. So preseason, at the end of the day, we know isn't that big of a deal. Pochettino, had a preseason, played really well. We looked amazing, and then we sucked. Yeah, we also lost in Kuku that season, but that doesn't matter. So 1-2 in the preseason. Again, how am I feeling heading into this? I feel fine. It doesn't really matter. It's preseason. Look, if we lose these two games, both, then I'm really going to start feeling actually pretty concerned. But I want to talk about how these teams have done recently. AC Milan, we're 5-1 against them. The one time they beat us was in 2012. We beat them preseason last year. We know that. I think they finished, if I can find it real quick, I think they finished Serie A last season in 5th or 6th. They finished 5th with 70 points, 20 wins, 10 draws, 8 losses. So a decent season. I think they're right around. Juventus were 6th and AC Milan were 5th. So, a good team. We know that. Now this other team, though, I don't think they've lost a league game since like 2021 last time I looked. So absolutely unreal. I think they've lost. Yeah, they've literally lost one league game since like 2021. They don't even give up like 10 goals a season. But again, they play in the most like absolute random league country in the world. What is it? They play in Malaysia. Mate, I don't even know how to say it. But at the end of the day, that's where they are. Whatever. Let's just move on. Injuries. Palmer Colwell. Palmer was training individually. Colwell wasn't training at all. But Xabi Alonso, I think, said they hopefully should be back for the game against AC Milan, if not the next day, Sunday. So we'll have to see on that. Enzo, we know, isn't back yet. I think he's trying to milk the move as much as possible before coming back. Is maybe Jordan Henderson going to join because Welbeck joined? At this point, I don't think so. I don't really know if there's much reason to join. We have these two games, and I think that's it. And then we play Real Sociedad. And then we play, after these two games, the preseason's over, then we just have the Real Sociedad game. But Gusto as well. I'm surprised he hasn't joined. Like, I understand you were with France. Barca was with Argentina. Like, lads, come to the preseason, man. I understand you want your rest, but for some reason I get upset when players don't come to preseason. Sure, take your 2 weeks off, mate, Gusto. It's been a while. Come into the squad. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So firstly, we'll put it right here. We'll see. I don't know. But firstly, I want to go into my starting lineup versus AC Milan. You can see it up there on the screen. We've got Sanchez in goal. Think that makes sense. He had a little knock, but now he's back. I think as of right now, we'll see if it changes, but right now, I think he is the number one. I think he will remain the number one for a while. Fofana, Koa without Lacroix. I think this would be our starting two center backs. I understand a lot of people wouldn't agree with that because of Fofana, but I think him and Koa will actually play really well together. Palestra in the right back spot, just keep letting him play there. We still don't have Reece James back. He probably won't join until Real Sociedad as well when we play at Stamford Bridge. So Palestra, again, I think right now he's just going to start there. I think that makes sense. Hato in the left back spot, I think it just makes sense. Lavia, he might be dealing with an injury, so I don't know if he's going to play. But not only with Koa, Lavia, and Palmer, I'll talk about here in a second, I don't know if any of them three are going to play, but I also just wanted to, put this team out there and basically say, without the other players coming in, Reece James, Rogers, whatever, this is basically starting 11. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Lavi still might be hurt, so he might not play. Caicedo, again, just give him some more minutes. Palmer might not play because of a small injury, but I'm really hoping he does. And if he does, I want him to play this game. Esteval getting Joao Pedro. Again, it just makes sense. This is mainly the starting 11 we have now based on the players we have. Anyway, next lineup we'll go into. I want Nicholas Jackson to start up top. We're going to start from the top and go to the bottom. Nicholas Jackson I want to start because we saw Danny Welbeck play. Nicholas Jackson we didn't get to see it play a ton. And if he is going to be in the team next year, I want to see him play. Maybe even Delap starts one of these games too, just as like a Delap, this is your last chance sort of thing. But Nicholas Jackson, yes, I want to see him play. And I want to see him play for like 70 minutes at least, to see if he's worthy of staying here next season. Pedro Neto, we're going to go in the cam just because I feel like there's no real backup to put in the cam right now, and I want to see Giovanni Quinta play out on the right wing again because I think he looked really well. Him and Palestra played well together, so maybe we see that again. But I also want to see Esteval and Palestra play together, so Quinta's going to be in this lineup. We're going to also go Mikhailo Mudryk. I want to see what he can do. Nicole Jazuli, keep him playing. He looks like a player that's probably going to go out on loan. He's only 16 years old. He looked pretty good, apparently, against Juventus because I didn't watch that game, so I want to see him continue to get more minutes. Asugo, same with him because he might go out on loan. Sorry, I know I'm going through this really quickly, but we got two lineups. I just, I feel like it's pretty obvious what these lineups are going to be, so we're just trying to go through it quick. Aaron Ansamino, I know he's on the left back spot, but I just want to see him get minutes, so I want to see him play. Sorry, I want to see play. Tosin, he's another player where this could be like, look, man, this is your last chance sort of thing. And Joshua Chimpong, I want to see him play in that right back spot. I feel like that's actually, at the end of the day, his natural position. So let him play there. Mike Pendez, give him a full game in the back line. Now, lastly, oh my gosh, of course, I just got signed out of my script. Lastly, though, I want to talk about like the manager pressure and how I think, oh my days, of course, I literally cannot look back into my flipping script that I had written out. Here we go. Sorry about that. So a 1 through 10 on how much of a must-win it is, players with pressure on them, and the manager pressure. For the manager pressure, I'm still going to keep it at a 2. Xabi Alonso really doesn't have any pressure on him since it is preseason, but the 2 losses in the row, and especially a big loss to Tottenham, I can see why some fans, which is crazy, but I can see why some fans are starting to get a little, if he loses these 2 games, then he's definitely going to have pressure on him going into the first game of the season against Fulham, but we'll talk about that if that happens. Also a 2 out of 10 on must-wins, maybe a 3 because we lost the last 2 games, but again, preseason, doesn't really matter. That's why we're going through this quick and just kind of getting it out there. Players with pressure on them. Palmer, if he plays, we still, I feel like, haven't seen the best of Palmer that we want to see. And he's going to have a big season this year, man. He is going to have a big season. But then lastly, I want to talk about some players that have pressure on them as all the players that might be sold or going out on loan, like Jackson, Tosin, Delap. I think those are some players that definitely have pressure just because we're going to sell you if you don't play good. But anyway, that wraps it up. I know I went through it really quick. It was kind of rushed there at the end with the lineups and stuff, but it's just preseason. We'll really start to dive into the more games, and we'll really start to get into the things. When we play Fulham, that'll be a very exciting video. But we got some more videos coming out for you. I'll probably have a match reaction of this video and the two teams we play, however you say that other team's name. I'll probably make that also in the same video, along with some more transfer news, because I'm sure we'll have some more outgoings. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.